So we're going to be going from, as Richard says, from Toronto down to Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is just across the border from Louisville, Kentucky, where the Toyota plant is. And this company specializes in injection molding. So we'll have a feedback session. And Laura, you continue to flip through. And we want your feedback at the end. Our next tour will be August 25th. And it looks like it will be at Flexo. I'm trying to move it. Flexo Logic. It's cool. And it'll be 10 a.m. Eastern, similar time to what we're doing this one. Okay, Laura. And remember our virtual and actual summit that we're having, the AME Dallas. You can actually attend it in person and it's also virtual. It's kind of a hybrid. Laura, did I get that correct?
Absolutely. We'll drop links in the chat at the end.
Okay.
And I think that's it.
Okay, so we're going to take off and we're going to hand it over to Sean and Kenny. And Sean, go for it.
Yep. Welcome, everybody. We're really excited today to be talking with you and taking you a walk through one of our facilities. So I'm going to give you a quick little background. Viking Plastics was started in 1972 up in Corry, Pennsylvania, which is located in the snow belt of Erie area, Erie, PA. This facility we purchased in 2018, I believe. We're a growth-oriented company. It's been traditionally an injection mold builder, so machining and building injection molds that are used in our industry. And this is a really cool kind of experiment, right? You've got this mature facility that's had people working in it for 3 decades, 4 decades, and then we're building out this injection molding capacity and hiring deliberately for culture and blending those two together to create one team that's focused on this culture of continuous improvement, a family feel, eliminating waste where we can, making frustration go away, and just really trying to make work better for everybody. And I'm included in that. I mean, even as a person in management in the company, every day, I just want to make it a little bit better. So my background is plastics engineering. I've been with the company for 15 years. I met Paul Akers in 2011. I watched a video of him walking around and encouraging his people and talking about 2-second improvements. And I told our president, Kelly Goodsell, I said, I don't know, I may have to move to Washington State, but I need to work in a company like that. I think we can do that here. And so we started the journey in our facility in Corry, Pennsylvania with 120 employees. And we've been doing it since 2011 and had great success. We've transformed the business and we see it as a recipe for creating a place that people really want to go to. We don't want to drag people to work, we don't want to come on in. We want people to feel that this is a good place to be. So I have responsibility for this facility, I guess, on an organizational chart somewhere. But more than that, I just appreciate working with the team here. They're just a great group of people. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to turn it over to Kenny.
All right. Welcome, Kenny.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, my name's Kenny Ulrich, plant manager here at the facility, and we do have a wonderful team. We've got 19 individuals that have been here from anywhere from 10 to 44 years tenure. I've been with the company 39 years. Started out on the floor, cleaning up and making deliveries, progressing through the shop, doing sales over the years, up to the management position where I'm at today, and then in the journey with Sean to incorporate molding into this facility and get everybody on board with 2-second lean and culture. So
Kenny, let me ask you a question. When you were first presented with 2-second lean and lean thinking, and you'd been with the company 39 years, what was was there any pushback from you? Like, this sounds a little crazy, stupid, I don't want to do it. How did that all go with you?
No, we've gone through several owners over the year, and the original group that started this tool shop started with 2-second lean. I mean, they got their employees involved in everything that they did. We had cleaning sessions, 3S. So we had a little knowledge. It wasn't, I guess, deep into it. We got away from it from a previous owner, from doing any of it, and then we were reintroduced back through Viking. So not a lot of pushback. I mean, it is change. A lot of people don't grasp it right off the bat, but we do have a lot of good things going on. So,
Wow. So that's really interesting. So you have a little history in it. Wow. Okay.
definitely.
So show us your stuff. We want to look around and see what you got going on.
Yeah, so we're going to start, we're going to walk into our break room, which is where we do our morning meeting. We call it a drumbeat meeting. We hold these meetings at every one of our facilities at the beginning of each shift. So I know that's kind of, how do you do that? We're going to talk about that. And we're going to walk through just some of the things that we've added to our cultural experience here with people and new employees. So we're going to head over in that direction.
Yeah, I like also, Sean, that you change it from a morning meeting to a drum beat, which is really interesting because they have multiple shifts. And I get this question all the time. How do you do it with multiple shifts? Well, nobody's done it better than Viking Plastics. So go ahead.
Well, I recall when we were in Japan several years ago, Paul. You were you were asking, how do you do it with multiple shifts? And it's like a lot of things. It's like eating well, right? Having good health, lean health.
Right.
You just got to commit to it and to make a decision on how you're going to work through it. So we have a monitor here that kind of like we take ideas from everybody. And
Right.
when I'd been out at your facility and saw how you ran your morning meeting, we decided we were going to put monitors in our meetings as well, be able to have more information, more sharing. We play videos. Let me see if I can scroll this down here real quick and
This
get
is
it for
very
you.
cool.
We cover our sales. We're very transparent with our sales. We train people in our company on our balance sheet or our income statement. We go through the 8 wastes every day. And I'm going to walk around the room here and just show you some of the things that we have going on. We share improvements, and I'll show you those on the walls as we walk around here.
Sean, there is an
Yes.
overlap on the drum beat meeting, right? So one team comes in like 10 minutes before. What's the overlap? Just because I know people are going to ask.
Yeah, so we have like 7 a.m. our first shift will be coming in, and so from 7 to 7:30, that team is engaged in the drumbeat meeting and 3S activities.
Okay.
And so at 7:30, third shift would leave the facility, and so at 7 a.m. and at 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. we run drumbeat meetings, and in some of our facilities we have an extra one at 8:30 that catches people that have a little bit of a swing different shift kind of work schedule.
And you told me off camera, Sean, that Kelly, the owner or the majority shareholder or whatever, he's involved in all the drumbeat meetings.
Yeah, so it's a big important thing for us is that we don't want this to be just an effort that's for people that are on the floor, right? That are making steel chips happen and building molds or making plastic parts or assembling things. This is all of us, and he has been a great leader in that. He has changed the way he approaches the business, and it's been an awesome thing to be a part of. I'm very proud of him and what he's done and allowed to have happen.
Excellent.
So I wanted to share real quick as we walk around. So this is from Yellow Tools, Michael Altoff, right?
Excellent.
I loved watching his tour, but he had this competency matrix. And so we, have created one here as we build out our team of injection molding people, and then look at the legacy of the people that are in here building molds. We wanted to cover, key, kind of tasks and things that we do, systems, processes, and get a feel for people's competency with it. And so that's something that we've initiated over the last few months here as we've been working to build out the team. And as a leader coming in, you can say, okay, who do I need to talk to if I need to get something done? Who can train me? I really want to come in and not be a burden when I'm in any of our plants. I want to be able to add value, right? I don't want it. This is not roll out the red carpet for the manager, right? I'm here to work. So that's something that we really have put some emphasis on.
Incredible.
So we want to create a different experience for people. And so what we do is we're hiring deliberately. We specifically talk about 2-second lean in our interview process. We actually have people watch videos. Some of them are Viking videos and some of them are Paul Akers videos from FastCap. And we ask for people to give feedback on what they think about being in a culture like that. And so when people commit, and it's funny to see how excited people get. A lot of people will go out and get the book, but we provide this this goodie box before people start, just to show appreciation for them being willing to join our team. We want them to know that our culture is important. We want them to have the book. That's something that we talk about every day. We want them to have some swag and just some goodies and make people feel welcome into our company. In today's labor environment, if you're not doing stuff like that, how are you going to retain people? How are you going to get people? You've got to be different. And I think that's a really cool thing about 2-Second Lean is that we're not afraid to be different. We're not afraid to try different things. We're not going to be stuck in the mud, so to speak.
Right.
So this is something the team's developed, an orientation binder. We want everybody to come in and have access to information. So of course there's certain HR related elements that people, need to know about. But when it comes to processes within our plant, we want everybody to have a working knowledge of the things that we do. And so we've created this training book, and it allows people to be able to write down their notes and have kind of a repository for the information that they need to do their jobs. And by having that, in their hands, we just find there's value to it. So we spend, hours going through these different elements with people to try to make sure that they're brought up to speed on what we're doing.
And you're involved in that as well.
Yeah, so I'll do it even remotely. We use a lot of, our IT department is great. So they've got us connected with Microsoft Teams and all sorts of stuff. But I'll dial in and be going over it with operator, level folks, process technicians, whatever. And I'm able to kind of build a relationship by doing that, which is important.
Excellent.
So we talk about the story of waste, and everybody's got a waste story, and we try to tailor it to our work environment, what we're doing. And so we're a raw material converter, right? So we take plastic and turn it into parts. We take metal and we turn it into molds. And so when we aren't doing that, we have downtime. So we work to fit the 8 wastes into downtime because when we have these wastes, it holds us back from being productive. It makes our jobs more difficult. It increases the risk of there being a quality problem, which can be, tremendously costly. In our industry, in the automotive industry, they expect 0 defective parts per million. And our current defective part per million rate is below 0.5 corporately. And that is just, I think world class is 3.4. So our lean journey is really a journey in quality. And so we train people to see those wastes and to work on those 2-second improvements. And then we share those, here's some of the printouts of before and afters that people have been working on, whether it's a supply closet, whether it's, a workstation out at a molding machine or over at a machining center. And it's always exciting to see what you find when you start doing a little 2-second lean, right? You find when you're cleaning out drawers, and when you're working through the closet, we just get in the habit of accepting the waste that's around us. And I think that's the beauty of 2-second lean is, we're continually forcing ourselves to look at the next thing that we can do better. I haven't put my toothbrush in the shower yet, Paul, but I know I know
I have 2 of them.
I know. So but we want to, the joke was last time or a couple times I was here, and you go to the restroom and there's no toilet paper and you don't have a process for that. That is a mission critical problem.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Wow.
So
you gotta do toothbrush in the shower though, Sean. It works great.
All right, I got to get that added up. We do want to help encourage people to throw ideas out, and sometimes people struggle with how do I get the idea of this improvement off the ground. Now, 2-second lean, we want it to be very simple. We want it to be easy for everybody to do, but sometimes people have other ideas that may require other people to help them out. So we put an area of, fix what bugs me, what's bugging me, and what can someone come help me out with it? So that's really one of the initiatives that we have in this area of the wall. Just trying to, again, drive that engagement amongst people. And something I think you've heard about in the past, Paul, is our Viking Academy. So this is something that we do corporately, where we take applicants to become a part of this journey of really peeling back the onion with more knowledge of lean tools, We go through the lean toolbox. We talk more about the Toyota production system, but we also introduce people to more detail about different departments in our company. And each of these groups of people represent, multiple shifts, people in the office, quote unquote, people that are on the manufacturing floor. And it's kind of a neat melding pot experience. And, imagine being a, person who's worked for a company for 2 months or 6 months, and you come in and now you're having this experience where you're sitting with, managers and people that have been in the business for 20 years, and you get to have a session with the CEO talking about, our growth strategy, about acquisitions, about capital spending, about how all the dots get connected. So it's a pretty impressive thing.
So what clearly you are developing people, and this is the center point of everything you're doing.
Absolutely. And so we're going to do now, if you have questions, ask them on the way, but we're going to walk out on the manufacturing floor and just kind of show some highlights of areas. Now, this is not a perfect facility. Kenny knows that. He knows we're on a journey. We want progress over perfection at this point, right? We know that we want it. We'd love to be perfect, but we want to continue to make progress. And that's kind of one of the key things to what we're doing. Things that people are implementing, Kanban cards. You can see this is something that's helping the organization here know what we need to order, when we need to order it, where we get it from. We're implementing QR codes so that we can actually scan and have information. And you'll find that, we're trying to take the ideas that other people have already run with and implement them and make them part of our processes.
Wow, beautiful. Beautiful Kanban card too. I like the design of it.
Yeah, and so Jen actually developed these. So Jen has a lot of experience with the folks at Toyota, and so she's color coded them. She's created it. Does a lot of training inside of our drumbeat meeting, which is an awesome opportunity to pull people together. So it's been a nice experience there.
It's interesting too that Jen, you say she has a lot of experience with Toyota. Our Kanban cards are not that shape, but those are actually very similar to the shape of that Toyota uses. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
Jen, did you use the Toyota system one for?
I've been through a few places where we've utilized Kanban cards. It was easy for us to implement and able for us to upgrade our MRP system while still maintaining a good idea of where we were at on our inventory.
Good. Excellent. Nice job. I like them.
Thank you.
So Paul, one of the things about this plant is it's, approximately 40,000 square feet. And it was, all the machining centers for making molds were spread throughout it. And Kenny, and his team have really done a nice job of giving up, I'll call it giving up space so that injection molding machines could be lined up. So we had in the last 6 months, clear out all these areas that you see before you, this bay and the one to the right, so that we could line up ultimately 9 molding machines to support a customer that's has a really wicked growth curve with a product line. And the whole thing is, thinking about flow. How do we move raw materials? How do we move finished goods with the least amount of effort? We don't want to have people acting like robots. We want to have 0 pellet loss. So, this handful of plastic pellets, we do not want them to end up, on the floor, in the waste stream. We want them ending up as good parts. And so those are some of the initiatives and efforts that people are putting into place here as we build this out. It's a pretty significant capital investment for the company, but it's very meaningful for this plant and for the company in general.
Let's see how you're doing that, Sean.
Yeah, so this year we're doing some heat staking. So we're assembling 2 parts together to create one. And Bev here is one of our newer employees, and so she's really bought into the lean culture. So there, the machine is actually going to stake down a couple posts and assemble the top to the bottom. And so here's what's awesome, Paul. This process has been in production for like 6 months, And we already
Nice.
have an improved process that's going to take the cycle time down by like 40%. And so we're
Wow.
working on some equipment. In the next 2 weeks, we'll have that up and running. I do want to highlight the QR code located up there. So if any new person is running this piece of equipment, they can scan that QR code, and they have a video that'll show them how to operate the equipment. So
Sean-
Jen and the team been
Sean,
doing that.
the interesting thing about what you're looking at here is the parts are coming off the machine. And as they're coming off the machine, she's assembling them. So she's not just watching a machine run. She actually is adding value right at the machine center.
Yep. And so we've got some other ideas for improvements in this space. But as you said, we don't want to have a lot of stock and storage. We don't have a lot of real estate here. It costs money to inventory things. So we're trying to do things more one-piece flow versus queuing things up. Thank you, Bev.
Right.
So we're going to walk over to the mold building section. And I know, Paul, I think you guys build some molds as well.
We do, not nearly as sophisticated as you. And I might just add to everyone, Sean has been an invaluable resource to FastCap because we do injection molding and build molds, but a very rudimentary comparatively to what they do. We're a very small company, but Sean has helped us with so much information. It's just been unbelievable. I always go to Sean, and he's been so generous with the information.
Well, I appreciate the, hopefully I don't lead you astray, but
Oh, it's been great.
It is about paying it forward. And, you know, so I wanted to highlight the cleanliness and organization that this team maintains these pieces of equipment in these work centers. This is their process. I mean, this is how they maintain this every day. We didn't go through and, I mean, I can find things that I would say if I was doing a cleanup, I would clean up. This is what we look like day in and day out. And Kenny and the team work to sustain it. You know, just to kind of show what an injection mold looks like as it's being built. You know, so this is the plastic component, and think of it like, you know, playing with Play-Doh. You got to have the mold that you want to push the Play-Doh into, right? So we've got to take steel and create very precise cuts with our machinery to end up with the geometry of the part that we want. And a lot of these molds have very sophisticated movements in them, actions, to be able to create geometries that are more complex. So this is what the team does. They design the molds down here, and they you know, send the data to the floor, to the machining centers, and then they work on machining it out and assembling it together. So Kenny's going to actually talk a little bit about some of the improvements that have been made to the machining areas. I'm just trying to get him into the camera space here. And so you can have a little flavor to what he's got going on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kenny.
so over the years, you know, we were not utilizing the full machines and unattended machining. So the guys have taken a look at trying to utilize unattended machining off hours. They load up the tool changers. Will end up at nighttime. We'll try to get anywhere from 5 to 8 hours of burn time unattended. The weekends we do the same. So last year we had roughly 1,400 hours of unattended machining with a combination of 3 or 4 different areas within the shop. This year we've increased that. We've had a good flow of new tooling. We've been able to get those numbers up. We'll be probably roughly 2,100 hours or so this year.
That's huge
if everything goes well. So yeah, so making progress in those areas.
And Kenny, that is both in making molds as well as the molding facility as well, unattended.
Yes, we've also incorporated some unattended molding hours. Started that last month when on a second shift we were able to do some, and we've roughly, I think there was 50-something hours in the last month we had in that. So.
Excellent.
So some of the other things
that can go wrong, believe me.
Oh, there is. And, you know, running lights out, that's kind of the terminology, you know, that's thrown out in the industry. And there's some great companies that figure that out. But running without anybody in the plant, you know, you have to have systems that are set up and are very reliable, very robust, because, you know, what happens if a water line breaks or if something goes on and you're not here? We use cameras to kind of give us a picture of what's going on. And as I said, our IT department does a great job with connectivity. So I can be at home and I can look at cameras and see what a machining center or a molding machine is doing. So that's an effort that we're really putting some time towards.
Very
And
cool.
so right now you're looking at end of arm tools. So when we mold the parts and we want to pull that plastic part out of the mold, and I think you do some of this as well, Paul.
That's correct.
We use robots with end of arm that grabs the parts, and we got to design that. So the team here, rather than outsourcing, we want to try to use our talent and our capabilities in-house and save, the
Brilliant.
time and effort and money and all the waste of communication with people externally. So this team here is working on end of arm tools that'll end up helping out in the manufacturing side where we're making plastic parts.
And Sean, does this facility support your other facilities in terms of end of arm and injection moldings?
So with mold build, yes. End of arm tool, that's something that we just started this year, and it's been primarily for this facility, but it is in our Pennsylvania facility, we're building our own end of arm tools up there as well.
Excellent.
So you can see we label all the steels. So we use a lot of different steels inside of our mold building facility. Sometimes you're dealing with aluminum and brilliant, titanium. It's a huge mix.
Really well organized. Incredible.
And then
easy, no dark spots.
I want to highlight something over here that's pretty wild. So these guys have not been they've not been out here molding for 10 years or anything like that, but they're thinking about lean. They're thinking about, when I set a mold up, we've got to control the temperature of it, and we do that with water. And so you've got a hot and cold line, in and out. And normally when you do a mold change, your changeover time, that's downtime, right? We're not producing. We want to reduce that, SMED, single minute exchange of die. So they've come up with this manifold system so that when we pull this mold out, we don't have to disconnect all these little lines. We only have to make a connection to one in and one out with a bigger line, and that reduces our time. And in some cases, you can save an hour or two per setup with reducing by having those water lines on a manifold versus individualized. And it also eliminates potential error, right? What happens if I switch a line around inadvertently? I don't get an in on the inside. I put an out on the inside. I can end up causing a quality issue. So they've been working really hard on those things too.
And the large lines are quick disconnects too, it looks like.
They are, yeah. And you can see this team here, they work with some pretty good size molds. I think we can go up to 15,000 pounds in this facility.
These are huge molds.
They're pretty good size, and you can see they're working on nice plates here that helps with the ability to clamp them in. I know you just went to mag platen on your new machines. I'm a little jealous, but yeah, so you can see how they've done a nice job of plumbing this in. So when the mold change happens, you're just one in, one out, and you're good to go.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
So now we're going to take a little stroll over to our molding side of the business. So the bay that's going to be located over here, it's got 3 injection molding machines. We have 2 more that are coming in another 3 weeks. And then we'll have another 4 of them that will be coming in before the end of 2023 to really, this, like I said, hockey stick growth to our customer. So this molding machine right here, running totally unattended. We have an auto boxer, so we invested in the technology of auto boxing, where we just fill the box queue up, and the robot's automatically interfacing with the mold to pick the parts, and then it places them into the box, and it counts them, and then it advances the full box down to the end of the conveyance. So we can queue up and actually not have to be over here for several hours as we're working to fill boxes up.
Very cool. And that's the end arm.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the end of arm is up on the robot. So that's one of the more simple ones that we have. We have some pretty complex ones that we work with as well. But we've deliberately designed this plant around the idea of eliminating those non-value added touches. We don't want people to struggle, and be robots with what they're doing. We want them to add value. We want you to think like a process engineer. How am I always, making something a little bit better versus struggling with trying to move things, grab things, handle things. Those paper cuts I remember one time I told you this. I think it's all paper cuts. There are 10
Right.
billion of them out here, and we just want to keep picking away at them. Keep picking away at them.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
so LJ here, we hired LJ as our production manager. He comes from the plastics industry with several years, and he's just a spitfire. He's, you know, all over this floor, loves the lean culture. I'm gonna let him talk for a couple minutes about his experience before versus now, and you know what it's been like being with us for the
Awesome.
last few months.
Hey, LJ.
Hi, how's it going? Nice to meet you
Excellent.
guys. So I've been in manufacturing for 18 years now. I started up and set up, you know, just working on tools and stuff. And one of my biggest frustrations, you know, coming up in the industry was finding tools, because a lot of places have shop boxes. You know, that's a box that everybody uses. So the problem is getting people to put it back, right? But so what we've did here is we created this toolbox where everything's laid out, everything's in Kaizen foam, everything's labeled, so everything can go back. You can quickly just check to make sure that everything's there at the end of your shift, and you don't have to look for anything. And
Right.
the time savings that you have just not having to look for a tool, you know, I don't have to walk all the way down there to 9 or come all the way up. I can quickly see, boom, everything's here. I know it's going to be there when I come to it to get it. And let's say that I'm inside of a machine working on something, like, oh, I need this tool. Anybody that comes into the shop, even day one, they could walk over and I could say, I need a 7/16 nut driver. The drawer's clearly labeled. They can find the nut drivers. They can find exactly what I need and help me to cut down on my downtime of working on something. And then, of course, we have the mighty Excalibur. Now, as you can see, it's almost as big as I am.
Wow. And everything looks like it's GPS coordinated too. It's green colored for the green toolbox. Is there a green mark on all the tools?
Yes, so you can see.
We lost you, Sean.
Yep, sorry about that. Yeah, so you
Right.
can see they're color coding that for the toolbox,
Right.
so that if we expand and need additional toolboxes, depending on how many mold changes we'll end up with when we
Right.
have 9 presses, we may have some different colors there as well.
Beautiful.
But we want to have fun, Paul. I mean, you say, you know, lean should be fun, right?
Fun.
Work should be, we can make it fun. So, you know, we talk a lot, it's like the mighty Excalibur. When we needed a
Right.
torque wrench that could put 500 foot-pounds of torque on it, I'm like, I don't know what that even looks like, right? And
Right.
so, you know, the
Wow.
mighty Excalibur, we want to have some fun with things.
It's incredible. Very cool.
So one of the things we're doing with each one of our workstations is creating a standardized model. So information is always in the same location. We always want to have it so that it's easy for operators to be able to find the things they need. We train heavily on, you know, reaction plans. What if something doesn't look right or smell right or taste right, whatever. We want to have people know what to do so that we don't end up with a big quality spill. You know, if you find it on the manufacturing floor, it's going to cost you $1. If you find it in your warehouse, it's going to cost you $100. When you find it out in the field, it's going to cost you $1,000. And typically,
Ooh, really
you multiply
well said.
that out by like 5, which is
Right.
what our experience is.
Now, Sean, very important point, that desk area is standardized throughout the entire corporation. So if I go to Erie, Pennsylvania, the same desk, the same information, the same place.
Right. So if you go to Erie, PA, you're going to find the first time quality reaction plan in the upper right-hand corner of the workstation at the machine. So when we bring people from facility to facility, you know, when we need support or people need to go visit or whatever, they always know where to go to find things. And that's deliberate. I mean, you think about how difficult it's to do one thing multiple times in the same plant, but to do it across an organization, you know, we as a team have to be pretty well synced up. And that's been, I think, a neat thing about our lean journey and our culture development.
Excellent.
So I'm going to hit on this area because I know, you know, people ask, how do you move material? And again, when we move, you know, thousands of pounds of material a day, we don't want to do it with a pitcher, right? I mean, we could take a 5-gallon pail and move it out to the molding machine. But over here, we've designed a system which is meant to be very much hands-off. We want to have a system where material conveyance is all done automatically, and it just tells us what it needs, and it takes care of itself. And if it needs maintenance, you know, says, hey, a filter is coming up for cleaning, whatever, it'll tell us those things. So this is something that when LJ arrived, he was pretty psyched up about because a lot of plants do not do this kind of investment. But for us, when we look at creating a very productive plant with high levels of efficiency, we didn't want a bunch of people moving around, moving materials. We just don't think that's a good use of their time. And it's tough to find people. So this system here. So I'm gonna let LJ kind of give me some, give all of us a little bit of a flavor for his experiences and how it's been different with other areas he's worked.
Yeah, so everything in this material system is controlled from this touch screen. I can turn pumps on, turn pumps off, turn dryers on. I actually have these dryers and these hoppers on a timer to start up every Sunday night, because that's when we start up. So everything's dry and ready to go as soon as our people get here on Sunday night. They don't have to mess with this. They don't have to do anything with it. It automatically comes on. It's been a huge, huge help from what I'm used to in previous jobs that I worked, where you had a press side dryer. We had people having to come in several hours before their shift just to turn them on. We've eliminated all that with this system. And another great thing about this system is you can't see one from here, but if we go on to the other side, everything has a QR code on it. So I have an app on my phone that links me to tech support automatically. I can scan the QR code, pull up my app, and it will link me directly to tech support for whatever piece of equipment that is.
Wow. And so LJ, so it sounds like the company is very predisposed to investing in technology or investing in things that are going to make your life better. You're not fighting with them to get that stuff done.
Yeah, we're absolutely not fighting. And I have been through the fight, the war, the struggle for many years, and we don't have it here. We've really eliminated a lot of that.
Look at this system. This is crazy.
Yeah, so, and everything's labeled with what material it is. The hoppers are labeled with what material goes in it. And we've even labeled these pipes over here that actually feed the material to the presses, so there's no confusion as to where stuff goes.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you look here, this tells me what hopper bay it's coming out of,
yes,
and it tells me what press it's going to.
I see. So
that way no one can mix it up.
Exactly. We have a system similar in our facility, now nowhere as sophisticated as yours because of you guys, because you guys consulted with us on what we should do, and our system is incredible.
Yeah, so Paul, it's again, setting this plant up and the people. I mean, we talk a lot in Lean about how in leadership position, managers, whatever you want to call it, people make decisions and then everybody else has to live with them.
Right.
And so when we looked at designing this plant, I looked at it through the lens of I'm going to be running it, like I'm going to physically be in it doing things. What do I want? And what will make it so that I can be as lean as possible, as efficient as possible, not struggle? You know, even like this Gaylord sweeper. Normally you put a Gaylord of this huge box of material on a tipper, then you got to tip it, and then you got to come over and get the shovel, and many times a shift you're back and forth. This thing automatically sweeps as the level goes down and pulls the material into the unit. So here I'm going to jog it just so you can see. So there's little brushes that sweep the plastic and pull it over into the area where the vacuum can suck it up. I mean, it's cool technology. Now, I'll tell you a key thing with all this is you got to maintain it. You've got to, have a good preventive maintenance plan. You've got to have good people. Otherwise, it's like it's like your Ferrari. If you don't treat it well, your Porsche is not going to go down the road. Your Ferrari's not going to go as well as it could. So we've got to keep things, well maintained. But as LJ said, everything's labeled, and we want to make sure it's very easy and intuitive for people to kind of understand what we're doing.
So Sean, one of the questions that came up is, what are your key KPIs?
Yeah, so we look at on-time delivery, right? So that's something that this plant is developing, as we start to ship product. And you can actually see behind LJ, some of our first shipments are going out from this plant on some of these molds. So on-time delivery, we as a corporation, we track our SMED, single minute exchange of die. We track our, we track scrap rates, so across our machines. And this plant is actually getting a new ERP, MRP system, and we're tying all the molding machines into that system. So we'll have a more real-time view of performance. So right now it's more manual in nature.
Okay.
We track our cycle efficiency. So if we say we should be at 35 seconds or 22 seconds, are we actually matching up with it? We track cavitation, how many cavities, how many parts should come out every time the mold opens. Are we meeting that? And then we have a number of, kind of financial metrics that we track, and, just kind of other things. Quality performance is huge in our industry. So we're always on lookout for that. So, as I said, we're below 0.5 defects per million in our plant. So, that's a really great quality rating, but we know we have more to do, right? We know, and it's like a lot of things. If you don't keep at it, you will go backwards. And, COVID was tough. It was hard on the business. Most businesses felt it. We couldn't interact the way that we do. We couldn't engage the way we do. But, Kenny and his team here, they kept doing their drumbeat meetings. They socially distanced. In our other plants, we went to a more virtual kind of meeting. We really just felt it was important to keep pushing it,
Right. Is there any metrics on tracking the ideas from employees? That's another question that came up.
Yeah, so we do not have like a play to pay or pay to play kind of scheme, or, I don't want to call it a scheme, but we aren't looking for, hey, LJ or Sean or, Kenny needs to come up with 6 ideas a week and implement them. We really want it to be something that people feel compelled to do.
Organic.
Yeah, organic is really a good way of explaining it. And we do, at the end of the year, everybody gets a formal review, and, we grade ourselves according to some of those criteria. Do I feel like I'm a good contributor to our drumbeat meeting process? Have I led them? Am I coming up with 2-second improvements? Those are discussions that people get to have with their supervisor, manager, and as a manager, you get the chance to kind of say, hey, are you doing these things? I haven't felt it,
Right.
And so, yeah, it's been a good process for us.
So, Sean, another question: is there a lean champion that makes sure the ideas are implemented, and how do you track ideas? And you probably answered, you're not really tracking the ideas, but I think you're the lean champion, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I think I have a cheerleading bent to me, right? I love this stuff. As I said in the beginning, in 2011, when I watched the first video of you in your morning walk, I was either going to move to Washington or I was going to create Washington where I was at, right? I was going to create a fast cap. And so I'm wired this way. And it's helped me in my personal life, with a lot of, organization and frustration being eliminated. But we have a lot of people that they sync up with that ideal, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to pull on the tip of the ship, but, there are people pulling too that want to make something great. And that's why, hiring deliberately has been important for us, really asking the questions. Can you see yourself being a big part of this when you're working here? So, yeah, I'm not walk around and checklist everything out. We do Gemba walks, we do work on things like that, but we want it to be organic. We want people to feel the real reason why we want to do this and see it in their work.
There is no specific lean champion, so to speak, that helps implement ideas in each facility. You just work together as a team to get them done.
Yep, we work together as a team. We have degreed black belt, green belt people in our company. We don't even really focus on that. Yeah, that's a feather in the cap.
I love it.
But we want everybody. I mean, it's awesome, Paul, when you hire somebody and you see that, every other place they've worked, they've been, minimized.
Dismissed.
Yeah,
exactly.
They've been dismissed. And they come here and, next thing you know, they're coming up with a prototype cardboard thing to help guide parts. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're an engineer, right? You're a process engineer. And I think people sync up and connect with that in big ways. So it's like Viking Academy. Imagine spending your life, in jobs where, you're bouncing around, and now you become a graduate of Viking Academy. You get to be a part of a celebration. You get this nice executive backpack, and, you got the same one that the president carries, right? Of the company. We're all in this together. Nobody is more or less important, right? If Bev doesn't show up and have a good day, it's actually worse for us than if Kelly has a bad day.
Yeah. Incredible.
If she doesn't show up, we're really in trouble. So we're all important. Everybody has a different role. you know, some of us have different skill sets or talents, but we're all important to this process.
So let me ask you a question, because we're coming to the close here and we've been asking the questions that have been going along. If anybody has any questions, just type in the chat and I'll ask them. But what advice would you give to people? What is the number one thing you would tell people to make sure they do in implementing a 2-second lean culture?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when with you and your journeys, right? Not only in lean, but in lean health. Try to make it simple and make sure that you're committed to it, you know, as a team. I've had great value in having peers and others that sync up with me in this idea. Yes, we can do this and we're going to do it. I don't feel alone in that within this company. I feel like there are a number of people that are right there standing beside me. And that makes me feel like I can charge harder. I think that's an important part of it. But keeping it simple, people that want to go out and just automatically be fast cap, you've done this for, you know, over a decade. You know, you've got to step forward in it.
It's step by step, you know.
Right.
I often get the question, people say, you know, my boss doesn't get it or my coworkers don't get it. I always tell people the first thing you need to do is put your head down and worry about your own waste. But at some point, you need to be with like-minded people. You need to find an organization that believes in what you believe in. And I think this is what you're conveying, is that you're with a team of people that believe that developing people and that continuous improvement is the answer for 99% of the problems that we face on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I come into this plant, when I come into our plants, it's like I'm with my brothers and my sister, right? With Jen and with Kenny. I mean, Kenny, maybe you think we're brothers. He's a little older than I am. But, you know, and then we got LJ. I just love the camaraderie that 2-second lean has brought into my career. The camaraderie when I go into our facilities, the camaraderie when we give tours. You know, we've had 40, 50 companies come through our Pennsylvania plant. The camaraderie with people with similar problems, trying to figure them out, and, you know, be able to say, you know what, it's not always just, we've got to bring the burden for Kenny to think through this idea and how we figure it out. We have so many talented people, and we just, we waste that talent if we don't engage them in 2-second lean.
Absolutely beautiful story. Absolutely beautiful story. You guys did a great job. Thank you, everyone. Just inspiring what you've done. Sean, I want people to know Sean has been a huge help to me over the 10 years that we've known each other, 11 years. It has just been amazing. We talk pretty regularly. He's always advising me on things. Whenever there's an issue with multiple shifts, I always direct people to Sean, because nobody's done it better than Viking Plastics. So thank you for all the help you've given to us. It's been immense.
Well, we appreciate what you do, and, you know, you kind of encouraged us to be better. You know, so and your team is phenomenal. If I could take everybody out to see it, I would. That's why I love the fact that you are on video and you're just sharing with the world. I love it.
Yeah, and I got a couple comments. Awesome, worth getting up at 2 a.m. from New Zealand to watch. Isn't that cool?
Great.
Isn't that
Thank
cool?
you so much.
Wow, wow. Isn't that awesome?
We appreciate that.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up now, you guys. Again, thanks, Laura. What's our closing slides?
We actually have a quick poll.
Okay, let's do that. Everyone, okay. So did you find today's tour valuable? Let's rate it real quick. Number 1, number 2, have you been inspired to implement or continue a 2-second lean? And number 3, out of 10, how would you rate today's session? Okay, and we're getting everything coming in. You guys are great. It's so cool that it happens just in time like this, and it's so fluid. I just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So this is fantastic. You tell me when you think we should close the poll. 33 of 33. So we've got all that. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we got 94% on finds valuable. We've got Laura, am I reading these right? Is it 100% inspired to continue? And then excellent, 79%. Fantastic job, you guys. Great.
Good.
Okay. Or did I get those right, or did I get them wrong? It looks like I got them wrong, didn't I, Laura? They're way higher than that, aren't they? Or no, there they are. Yeah, 94, 179. Phenomenal job, you guys. Okay, Laura, what's next?
We have the AME Dallas conference coming up in October.
Okay. So you can sign up for that on the AME website.
I'll drop the link in the chat. And then we also have the AME Lean Sensei That is a
Exactly. So if you want to
phenomenal
measure
free
yourself
tool.
against other teams,
Yes. And then we have the AME Return Stronger to Work
okay?
that we couldn't do without. So if you want to give back, feel free to.
Yeah, if anybody wants to contribute to AME, because it's a nonprofit, we're doing all this to help people. And if anybody wants to contribute, we'd love to have the help.
And that's it.
Okay, and we'll see you in August, and we're going to have another great tour. Thanks again, you guys. Great job.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.